Welcome to our next Java concepts or OOP concept class. So today we are going to discuss another one important concept, actually two concepts, abstracts and interfaces. So today we are, as I said, today we are going to discuss abstract classes and interfaces in Java. Before that, let us see what are the concepts that we have discussed until up to now. We have discussed class and objects, which is the building blocks of object-oriented programming. Then we discuss inheritance, which is for reusing and extending the existing code. Then we discuss constructors, that is special methods to initialize object. When you initialize object, constructors will be called. Then method overriding, how we can refine inherited methods. And lastly, we discuss encapsulation, that is hiding the data and controlling the access through encapsulation. Today we are going to discuss about another two concepts. First one is abstract classes. What is an abstract class? Abstract class is a class that cannot be instantaneous directly. So basically, you can't create an object from abstract class. Basically, you can create a template from abstract. In abstract class, you can have a method signature or you can have a concrete methods. Now, abstract classes are used when you want to provide base structure but leave some methods to be implemented by the child class. So, abstract class, you create a structure and then you are saying, in case you want to do some implementations in the child classes, you can do that. So abstract classes are perfect when you want to share common code but also enforce specific method implementation in subclasses. So without any further delay, let's go and see how abstract classes can be implemented through Java. So again, I'm using NetBeans for this particular exercise. So this is a demo project for abstract class demonstration. So you can see I have created a class called animal and there is a keyword called abstract. And there are two methods in the animal class. One is a sound method and other one is the sleep method. So sleep method, it's nothing new. You can see the method, no parameters, you're not returning anything and the implementation is there. However, if you closely look at the sound method does not have any implementations. It is just a abstract method. So you are basically saying there is a method called sound which doesn't need any parameters and it doesn't return any values. That's all. You are leaving the implementation to be done in the subclasses. So before we move into the extension or the inheritance of the animal class, let's see whether we can create objects from the animal class. So let me try to create an animal class, object from the animal class. So it says animal is abstract, cannot be instantaneous. So you can't instantiate an object from the abstract class, right? So then what we do is, so we have animal class, which is abstract, fine. So we are extending dog class from the animal class. So when we are doing that, we have to override the method call sound with this this implementation. So we can see I have done the implementation here for the sound class. Now for the sleep, for the sound method. For the sleep method, I don't have to do any implementations because that is coming from the animal class. So now when I create an object from the dog class, so now I get sound and sleep methods, both I will be getting into the dog class. If you look at sleep is inherited from the abstract class, and sound is the concrete implementation of the dog class, which you can see here. So that is where the abstract is used again. So abstract classes, you can see abstract classes, you are providing a template for subsequent or the derived classes has to follow. So here what we are saying is, in the derived class, you need to have a method called sleep. You need to have a method called sleep in this way. You have to have a no input parameters and no output parameters. But can I create new methods? Yes, you can. So if I want to create a method for uh, right, so I can create a method like this in the dog class, which was not declared in the abstract class. So I can create a method called run, and run will be is accessible here, right? So in abstract class, what we do is you provide a template, and we are enforcing users to create a sleep method that has to be implemented in the subclass. That is the idea of abstract classes. Okay, so we have done with the abstract class. Now we have another concept called interface, somewhat similar to the abstract, but there is a subtle difference. So interface is like a contract. It specifies what class must do, but not how. We are specifying the template, but we don't enforce to create the methods in the interface itself. If you look at abstract, you can do the implementation in the abstract class as well, but in interface, there will be no implementations. All the implementation should be done at the child class. This is a new thing that you are hearing today. That is, you can class can be implemented through multiple interfaces. If you have interface, if you have multiple interface, you can create a class from multiple interface, so that particular class will get all the methods from from those two interfaces. So interfaces are ideal for defining capabilities that can be shared across unrelated classes. So you can say these are the methods that you should have in your subclass, uh, and where subclass needs to implement implement those methods. So let's look at the implementation of interfaces through a Java code. I'll be using NetBeans again. Okay, so you can see non interface is defined. Typically, the standard is when you are defining an interface, you typically start with I to say that it's an interface, right? So now you can see you have two methods in the interface. No implementations are done. Unlike in abstract you can do implementations, but when it comes to interfaces, you can give only the signatures of the method. If you recall what the signatures are, right? Signatures are method name, input parameters, and the return value. So here you are defining only the signatures of the method, and then you use a you define a car class which implements from iVehicle. Hope you see the difference there. If I go back to the if I go back to the abstract, here you, like inheritance, you extend the dog class from the animal class. But when it comes to interfaces, you have a different keyword. That is, you are not extending, you are implementing car class through the interface of iVehicle. And then you do your implementations here, right? Like this again, you can have new methods. That's totally fine. You can include new methods in the car class, and then you call your normal car class. You can't call interfaces here. I will show you that. So if I try to use vehicle new, this is not allowed, but you can create a car class, you can create object from the car method, sorry, from the car class. If I try to create a object from the vehicle interface, it will fail because vehicle is not a class, not a the concrete class. So it will say that it's an abstract class. You can't instantiate object from that. But I can create a object from the car class and then call necessary methods. Start and then the stop. Right. So I can uh, create object from the uh, car class, which is implemented through the interface, and I can execute the methods from the car, uh, car from the object that was created from the car class. Right. So we looked at abstract class and the interfaces today. So let's look at the differences. Obvious difference is uh, in both there are similarities as well. Both abstract and interfaces, you can't instantiate an object. You cannot create an object from the either abstract class or the interface class. In an abstract class, you can have abstract methods as well as concrete methods. In interface, you can have only abstract methods only. Variable, in abstract class, you can have instance variables. In interface, you can have only public static final constants. Right? You can have only constants, which cannot be changed in the implemented classes. Inheritance, a class can extend at only one abstract class. So as I told you when I'm discussing the interfaces, I told you that you can implement a class from multiple interfaces, so that will get both the methods of those two interfaces. But here in abstract, you can't do that. You can extend only one abstract. So what is the use case for these two? So abstract class is used when classes share common state and behaviors. Now interfaces are used. It's unrelated classes must share common capabilities. So there are unrelated classes. They don't have any relationships. But for that one, you can create interfaces, right? We'll be looking at this interfaces, and abstract classes are heavily used when we are discussing design patterns next year. So the usage, abstract classes are used when classes are related and share common code. So if there is a situation where you need to share common codes, you can use abstract classes. Interfaces are used when you are enforcing classes to use. You need to have these methods, but those methods can be varied from class to class, because they are not related. So therefore, you can use interfaces for that. Remember again, interfaces will be heavily used next year when we are discussing design patterns and framework. So hope you understood the difference between abstract classes and the interfaces, and also very importantly, the use cases for these two. Again, one of the most important concept in double OP or object-oriented programming. Thank you very much.